time! The age of stone is over. Long live the age of bronze.
4 times Oscar-winning Nick Park, creator of Wallace and Gromit, approached us with a new idea. To our great pleasure, he's decided to invent some entirely new characters. And indeed a whole new world.
Time to go hunting!
Bit early, isn't it, Doug?
But Chief, we're early man!
I was one of these people that grew up with all of the stuff that Aardman did and was always completely seduced by it.
Nick always brings something really special to his movies. That enthusiasm is running through the entire crew, and hopefully it'll end up on the big screen.
What's that crazy fruit he's got?
Nick had the initial idea for a film about cavemen and the invention of the beautiful game, football, probably about 10 years ago.
I was just playing around with the idea of cavemen and the typical holding a club and how would they cope with a sport that needs discipline and not using fists and not using clubs.
So, I'm going to try and get the ball, and you have to stop me, okay? Go!
I started just riffing on ideas about baseball and rounders and what about a caveman inventing football? That's how it started off. It soon took on this whole idea about how sport could bring about peace between different primitive fighting factions of cavemen.
Early Man is a Nick Park movie, and it has to come from him. The comedy is essentially Nick Park's sense of humour.
Nick is a big deal for all of us because he's set up the world for us to be able to do any of this stuff.
Nick is an icon of animation. When you meet people, whether they're 8 or 80, they know about Wallace and Gromit, Chicken Run. People love what he does and can't wait to see more of it.
The thing we all fell in love with was his initial sculpts of the characters.
I love creating characters. It's where I'm in my element, and I first of all just draw them, and then I've got this fantastic group of model makers who will take my drawings and work them up into physical puppets.
Kept going back in and reworking them and making tweaks and changes. They were about this large.
Characters will evolve alongside the story as it's being written.
It's been an amazing challenge trying to encapsulate these huge characters.
What do you want?
Nick has this amazing ability to work with shapes that look very simple, but as soon as you start looking deeply, they're incredibly meticulously put together.
There was something about their characters, their big round bodies, their heaviness. There's this sort of weight to it all.
A caveman?
A caveman?
Doug has changed shape, form and character a number of times in the development. Finally landed on a Doug who's the smallest member of this tribe of 11.
You can see these really early grey sculpts here. These are maybe about 4 years old or so. And you can see the evolution of Doug. Obviously, he's lost a little bit of weight. He's trimmed down a bit for his football.
It did have that massive grin and those teeth that we so relate to, like Wallace and Gromit. When Nick then smiles, you basically realise they come from they come from him.
Nice try, though!
I love the way Eddie has this very unassuming demeanour to him, and it's very endearing.
When I got the call, I was completely overwhelmed because I'd been such an Aardman fan for so long.
He just is Doug. He brought a warmth and a naivety and just boundless energy and enthusiasm to the performance.
He sees the world with open, optimistic eyes, without any cynicism.
His voice really shaped how that character looked in terms of the mouth shapes. So it's just such a vital part of the process.
Well, I've just had a great idea!
This film is so filled with extraordinary new Nick Park characters.
Okay, next.
Hognob?
Doug needed a sidekick, so Hognob evolved.
A bristly pig with tusks.
He has this incredibly expressive face, deeply, deeply loyal, and he keeps finding himself in really awkward positions.
It's time for my massage.
You can't help but compare him with Gromit. I didn't do it consciously. He just gravitated that way.
This is good.
I loved getting Maisie for this role.
We've really worked to develop the physicality of her, how she might run. She's very nimble and light-footed. We've tried to keep that in all her action.
Knowing that you're going to be bringing her to life, it was just really, really special.
You're pretty brave, caveman. And stupid.
She's just fantastic as the feisty Gooner who really whips this tribe of misfits into shape.
I love you, little bronze coin. Hello. Mwah, mwah. I love you. I love you too. Mwah.
I play Lord Nuth. He's a vain, self-important, pompous, puffed-up governor.
Tom just steps into a baddie so comfortably. When you hear the voice, you can just visualize the silliness.
Turns out your tribe were totally crap at football.
I was so honoured that he wanted me to be involved, and I thought this is only going to be fun.
He's got very small hands. I don't know why, that seems to be an important part of it.
As soon as I saw the drawing of him with his enormous trapezial chest and his small hands and his bald head, and I thought, wow, Nick's really seen my true self.
Get your act together! Unless you want to be suspended for the rest of the season.
I always feel so close to the characters. You have to get under their skin and you have to live and feel them.
What strange magic is this?
Early Man manages to hold on to the handmade quality that people associate with it, that I think makes it very special.
Nick very much wanted to keep that lumpy feel and to have the handmade film for them to see the fingerprints, very much sort of part of the style.
Great honor, Your Majesty.
Personally, I have an affinity with clay. It's not really a choice.
We've really gone back to a sculpted look, a bit more organic.
Cave people certainly look like they're hewn out of clay, which made his style of character design perfect for a caveman movie.
There's a certain humour that comes out of it. It just helps somehow.
Righto, Chief! Ow!
I think in clay, I think.
It's as it always was. It's still done frame by frame by frame. From these beautifully sculpted figures, you see literally the fingerprints of the model makers.
But it also has this epic scope.
Really tried to push the world out as big as we can.
We're working with about 35 animators across 45 shooting units, 5 studios, 162 crew on site.
17 set dressers. Experts at doing things they've never done before generally is what we're good at.
The size of the sets and the vastness of the world is something I haven't seen from him before.
It's the heart and soul of where Nick started, fused with the ambition to make it in a really big film.
If you've been an Arbin fan, that's dream-worthy. Oh, it's the what I call plasticine sort of dream.